Good morning. Today is Monday, August the 30th, and we are back for Anchor Your Week. This is week number 30. It is 9:05, and we are excited to be here this morning. First of all, before we do anything, I just want to go on record and say how proud I am of each and every single one of you that are here this morning. You've decided that this was important, that this meeting is important to your business. You carved out time to be here live. You're not watching the recording, and you guys are doing it. Every single one of you before we went live had mentioned, hey, I've got this going on. I've got a listing here. I'm negotiating a deal here. I am so proud of you. So if nobody else tells you today, I need you to hear that I am so very proud of you. You are doing it. You are achieving what so very few agents actually achieve in their real estate career. So just go ahead, raise your hand and pat yourself on the back because you're doing it. You are doing it. So we've got an exciting morning this morning. I've asked Chris to share again this morning. I realize that you don't need to always hear from me. So Chris is going to share again this morning. Next week, we are going to have off for Labor Day. I'll be at the beach celebrating my wife's birthday. And then the following week, we're going to hear from the man, the myth, the legend, Tim Gibson. So excited about this morning. So Chris, without further ado, will you take it away and teach us what we need to learn today on this Monday?
Let's see here. Am I unmuted? You can hear me now? Can you hear me now? We good? All right. All right, guys. Good morning. When Cody decided to let me lead this meeting, it took me a second or two to think about what I wanted to talk about. But I figured I would, he mentioned the other day he wanted to focus on basics in the future. And I decided I'd try to share information and things that I've learned through real estate with you guys, and hopefully it'll help all of us. Some of the things I'm going to go over are things you guys already know. But there may be some things that you haven't thought of, or maybe I can make you look at them a little bit differently. And I help all of us. So basically our job is, it's broken into two parts. You have listing agents and buying agents, and most of us do both. I have more experience working with buyers than I do with listings. So I believe that's where my expertise lies. But I am happy I have my first listing appointment today at 5 o'clock. Since June, since I started back with Cody, this is my first listing appointment. I've been working with buyers ever since June. So today I was going to go over the top mistakes that we make when we're working with buyers. And I, along with a billion mistakes that can be made, I narrowed it down to 5 that are important to me and 5 that I have experience with that I think I'd like to share with you guys. And some of you have been selling real estate for a while. Some of you are new. So it's pretty important. Working with buyers, everyone has reasons for working with listings or buyers. I like buyers because I like meeting people. I like running around and looking at houses. I think it's fun. You become a part of this person's best experience they're going to have. And it's part of your responsibility is to make it the best experience they've ever had. It's certainly going to be one of the biggest purchases they've ever made. So let's jump right into them. So I've narrowed it down to 5. The very first buyer mistake that pops to mind is jumping on buyers too hard. And that includes the hard sell and just clobbering them like piranhas. And I think we do that for a lot of reasons. One is that we're thinking about our own agenda there. You know, how often when we meet listings or buyers, that in the back of our mind, or maybe it's the first thing you do. Hey, it's a $250,000 house. How much will that net me? Get your calculator out. Maybe that will determine how hard you work. Don't do that. What that does is putting your agenda first. And that's not what we're trying to do here. Oh, and a side note, some things may overlap in these 5 items, but that's how the world works and that's how I'm doing it. So anyway, jumping on your buyers first, that's putting your agenda first. You got to remember it's their focus and it's their perception that is the most important thing. And no one likes a salesman that's just on them. No one likes that. Most people don't look for cars because of salesmen, because of car salesmen. Don't be a car salesman. Be relaxed. They're going to be anxious anyway. So when you're with a buyer for the first time, especially, be relaxed. Show them the picture of relaxation, and that reiterates your knowledge and comfortability in your business, in your role that you're about to play. So be relaxed, woo-saw, and just let it come. It's what we do. I talked about it last time. This is what we do. This is our gift. Don't mess it up by getting crazy. Relax and don't jump on them hard. Nobody likes that and makes your job more difficult. The second thing. Now this is something that maybe is probably not new, but it's something that you need to take note of. Is one of the mistakes we make is not leading the conversation properly. In your information gathering, when you're meeting your buyers, you need to ask the proper questions to get information, and of course, let them ask questions. But if you let a buyer go crazy with questions, and you then lose the conversation, everyone knows that the person asking the questions usually is leading the conversation. Let them ask questions, obviously, but be aware that your answers and try to anticipate their coming questions so you have control of that conversation. If you let people, they will talk themselves out of the purchase. Don't do that. Answer their questions properly, but return statements, affirmative statements. And if you have to, direct them to a different direction. If they're asking questions that are giving them anxiety, that not say they're bad questions, but they're questions that's freaking them out, well, lead them away from that. Don't let your clients go crazy on themselves. You have to be in control of this conversation. You're a professional. You have a role to play. Remember that role, and that's part of your role is to guide them in their guide this conversation. Yeah, that's about it for that. Well, in guiding the conversation, remember we're all skilled listeners, and be sure and listen. You've got to listen. You can't wait for your time to talk. Be a skilled listener. And that way you're gathering information. We're gathering information from the moment we open the car door at the driveway to meet this buyer, because most of the time, there is the first time. Everyone's the first time. As soon as you're getting out of the car the first time, you're starting to gather information. And you need to remember that. This is all part of the deal. Your friendship is starting right now. So lead the conversation properly. A lot of us don't do that, and it can be detrimental. The third thing we all know, and we've all done it, and there's reasons to do it. I did it yesterday, and I can even explain why I did it yesterday. We show people properties that they are not pre-qualified for, or well, to the point, showing properties to people who aren't pre-qualified yet. Okay, 90% of the time, don't do it. It's a waste of your time. If you were listing the house, if you were selling the house, would you want your agent showing the house to people that can't buy it or you don't know can buy it? That doesn't make sense. That's not what our business model is. That doesn't work. Now, yesterday, I will explain, I'll just for short tell you what happened to me yesterday. I was visiting my parents in South Carolina, and I got a sync call of someone that was requesting to look at a property. I wanted to reach out to them. Well, in the conversation, they told me that they have a house to sell, and we had a good rapport going. Now I'm in South Carolina. He wanted to see something in Cornelia, and I talked to him, and he said, "I've spoke to Homestar Friday, and we're moving forward with that. And no, we don't have a pre-qualification letter yet." I've already set an appointment to list his house today at 5 o'clock on the phone, and I said, "Well, let's go look at that house in Cornelia." I did that because I have a listing appointment now. We've decided. I've made an appointment. We're going to list this house. He wants to sell and wants to buy. This is my opportunity to go meet them. Let's go meet them. I knew driving there, we're probably not going to be able to put an offer in. Nobody's going to put an offer without a pre-approval. No one's going to accept an offer without a pre-approval. But it was my chance to meet them, gather information, and work with them. And I'm going to help them buy their new house when we list this house. So it was a chance for us to grow. And so I knew that I was showing property that they probably aren't going to get. But I took that chance. Now, previously in my career, I've had couples where I drove around everywhere, showing them everything, and they weren't pre-qualified. I was trying to be the best agent ever. Now, look at it this way. I heard somebody say this the other day, and it makes complete sense. Let's say you take the Johnsons out to go look at a $500,000 house, and they're not pre-qualified yet. and Miss Johnson and Mr. Johnson fall in love with this house as everything they want. And you say, all right, well, let's get you pre-qualified. Oh, they only pre-qualify for 250. How do you think those 250 houses are going to look to that 500 house? Miss Johnson loved that tub. None of these other tubs are even going to match it. So now you've scathed them a little bit. I mean, they're going to be a little frightened to go look at anything. And it may talk them out of buying a house at all. Well, if I can't have what I had first, a $500,000 house, well, I don't want it then, you know. That's easily happens. It can happen very easily. So don't waste your time or their time showing properties that they're not pre-qualified. You need a pre-qualified buyer, and that is the commitment you made to the listing. Your clients you're listing a house for, you committed that you would find a ready buyer who's ready to buy and qualified to buy their home. That's what you said. Well, don't not do it. You got to show properties to people who are pre-qualified. It's an easy thing. It's just do it. You guys all know it. Do it. Again, there's times you have to be fluid and be fluid. But that's going to be the third thing I think we do most often, and I did a lot, and we'll continue to make that mistake sometimes. Yesterday was not a mistake. All right. And the fourth thing that popped up in my list would be not doing a proper buyer qualification. Now I've never sat down with people and said, let's sit down and have a buyer's meeting. No, you get this information from your conversation, from meeting the person for the first time or on the phone. Do a proper buyer qualification. Not only find out the factuals we need to know, are they pre-qualified, but ask them questions of what they're looking for. Find out the reason they are moving. It's generally not the reason you think. There's going to be another reason they're wanting to move. Maybe it's to be closer to work, or maybe it's the school system. Maybe that's exactly what it is, the school system. But there's going to be other reasons they're moving. And that's part of the information gathering and the buyer qualification. You want to assess their needs, find out the deal breakers, find out their check boxes that they're looking for those properties. These are all the things you need to do in the buyer qualifications. Start that rapport, get that trust gathered. This, like I said before, this is the biggest purchase most people are going to make, or the biggest sale they'll ever make. They need to trust you. And this is what we do. This is our agents. That's why we are anchored. We need to be trustworthy, gain that rapport, and you do this through your buyer qualification. Getting to know them, getting to know their kids, remembering their children's names. Silly, do it. I don't know how you do it. What I do it is I say someone's name. If I just met Frank, well, Frank, how long you been looking for a house? Hey, what do you do, Frank? Well, Frank, did you hear this story about? Use their name as many times as you can. 3, try to use their name in conversation 3 times. You won't forget their name. Try not to remember their name by comparing them to somebody else. Oh, that girl looks like the red hair girl, Amber, she's a red hair girl. And the girl's name's Lisa, you know? Oh, Lisa, I mean, Amber. Don't do that. Use their name 3 times in conversation sooner than later, and that will help you remember their names and the children's names. Please remember that. That brings you into their family when you're discussing things later. Well, the elementary school for Lisa and Ken is going to be Blackmill Elementary. Or, Lisa's school is Blackmill Elementary, but Ken's going to have to go to this high school. Not have to go, but get to go. Remember things like that. Of course, remember both of the parents' names or your buyer's names. Let's see here. Get to know that. I think I covered all of that one. See, this is moving along fast, isn't it, Cody? All right. Your last one. I wish I could have come up with 10 mistakes I make, but I'm not that bad. Just 5. This sounds kind of silly and counterintuitive, but it does make sense. Don't let the buyer impose their schedule on you. Okay, we know we have to be flexible. When would you like to see this? When you not like to see it? There's times you have to be flexible, but remember, we're a business. We're a professional business. When you let them impose you and pull you here and there and run you here and there, you're canceling your plans to go with them, to do this. When you let them impose on you, you take away your credibility. You take away your business professionalism. The comments like, I can show that house between 3 and 5 today. What works for you in between that time? Or could you get off work a half hour early today? to see this house. Tell your supervisor that you're looking at a property right now. Ask them to adjust their schedule to you. When we go to a doctor, we go and we wait in the waiting room. We follow their schedule. We make an appointment. We follow the steps. They need to follow our steps. We're not just willy-nilly running around like crazy. Don't let them control you, but at the same time, be their friend, be there for them, and be available. But keep your schedule. Boundaries, impress upon them your professionalism and your business. This is a business we're running here, and it's a lot of people don't look at it that way. We provide a valid business. We provide products, and we provide buyers of those products. So it's very important. When I first started real estate, Cody knows, oh my goodness, I would spend days and days, and sometimes I'm unqualified buyers showing houses, and I would stop everything to go show a house. And that's what you want to do, especially first time real estate agents. You want to do that. You got to get that sale. But again, you're letting them impose on you, and you're also, let's go back to our first one. You're also attacking your buyers like crazy. Don't do that. Relax. They came to you, or you may have gone to them, but they came to you for your service. Provide your service within boundaries and in a professional manner. And being willy-nilly is not. Being firm about your times is good. I had an agent tell me one time that she gives, I think she said every Wednesday. She said Wednesdays are my day offs, because in real estate, like we all know, we work 24/7, 7 days a week. I was texting last night at 11 o'clock for my buyer today. We're hoping to hear something at 12 o'clock. He's anxious. I calmed him down, talked him off a ledge through text, thankfully. But at 11 o'clock at night, give yourself a break and give yourself a little bit of a time off. I know this is a little off of the list, but just person to person, set aside some time for you and your family sometimes. Because when we get so focused on chasing things down, we forget why we're doing this. And why we're doing this is for time and freedom. And money, of course, it's money. Time and freedom is what everyone wants. Give yourself that time, give yourself that freedom. You'll burn out. It's easy to burn out. I can't say I'm burnt out. I'm still trying to build my client pool. I can't. Oh, I'm burnt out. Oh, I only have like 5 clients. But Cody is a prime example. The boy knows everybody in the world, and as far as I know, he has 50,000 deals going on in his head all the time. I don't know how he does it. I couldn't do it. I can barely brush my teeth and walk at the same time. Give yourself the time to breathe and focus on you. And so let's go over those one more time. Plus, I can extend this a little bit by doing that. Don't jump at your buyers too hard. Nobody likes a hard sell. We know why they're there. You know why they're there. They know why you're there. All this information gathering and relaxation call. Woosah. Don't jump on them hard. This is your buyer. This is now going to be your friend for the next 60 to 90 days. It depends how long it takes you to find a house and close. But they're going to be your friend, and they need to think that you're pretty good friends. You should be pretty good friends. Definitely let them think you're pretty good friends. All right. Again, number 2, control the conversation. Don't let buyers talk themselves out of something. If they're in a line of thought and a line of questions that are giving doubt and giving worry, scoot them away. We all know how to do it. I can cover that one other day on how to control conversations. That's something I'm good at. Be sure and be aware of that when you're talking to someone. When you see them getting anxious about things, calm their nerves. That's what we do. Again, woosah. Number 3, don't show unqualified buyers. Don't. It's a disservice to the person listing the house. It's a disservice to you, and it's a disservice to your buyers. These are steps we follow, and part of an agent is to walk people through these steps in a nice, calm fashion. Most people haven't done it before. I mean, I work with a lot of first-time home buyers. Josh, my guy today, doesn't know a thing. And we're walking, this is our steps. This is our steps. This is our steps. And one of those steps is getting pre-qualified. That's an exciting time. It could be a depressing time. They could get a number they don't like. But now you can give them information. You can provide them with tools so they can work on their credit. I have my go-to guy is Greg. That guy's my guy. He talks to my clients, and he straightened clients' credit up for them, told them what they need to do. And within a year, they're calling me back. We did everything Greg said. We actually did pre-qualify now for more than $15. So, as part of it, do not show unqualified buyers. And again, fourth was doing a proper buyer evaluation, buyer qualification. When you meet them, gather that information you need, find out those reasons, those wants and needs for why they're moving. And fifth and not least, keep in mind your own schedule. Don't let your buyers impose on your schedule in your life. Really, it's easy to say, yes, my buyers are my priority. Of course, they're our priority, but they're not here to suck your soul away. You're providing a service. And remember, when you provide those boundaries show professionalism and business. It shows professionalism of our business and of ourselves. Those boundaries are good for buyers. Don't let them control you and pull you all over the place. It doesn't work that way. We have other clients. They need to feel like they're our only clients, but we have other things to do. Have a schedule, stick to your schedule, and let your buyers know what your schedule is. I show houses on this time of day, or maybe I only show houses. Well, I wouldn't do that. Show houses whenever you can, but you know what I mean, within bounds. All right. So with these 5 things, you should go out and win over your next buyer with a smile. Now, really, guys, especially if you're starting out in real estate, these are things you need to focus on: working with buyers, working with listings. I'm sure it's similar, but be aware of those 5 things whenever you're working with buyers and being a buyer's agent. And that's going to be the end of my presentation today. Anybody want to see the lake? There we go. Like, anyway, I hope this helps, guys. Now we'll open the floor for any questions.
Excellent. Chris, I just wanted to touch on number 4, proper buyer qualification. That was something that in the last 6.5 years that I didn't really have to do in regards to sitting down, meeting, and a lot of big brokerages will say you've got to meet them at the office. They got to see. But with this market that we're in, and we're starting to see a shift, and as I'm sure that you guys are, we're starting to see more inventory. We're starting to see we're not 30, 50, 100,000 over asking price, but you really have to establish a trust and a knowledge of the market. You have to be able to explain, this is not a market that we can go 5, 10,000, 15,000 under list price.
Mm-hmm.
So that's part of that coaching, that instructing, the teaching, and making sure that everybody is on the same page. So when you go out to look at those houses, that they have an expectation. You've already done the talking versus you trying to talk to them right before you're writing up an offer. And at that point, right, it may be too late. You may have to have a hard conversation over the phone versus in person, but you have to qualify the buyer in this market. Not only the criteria, yes, that's important, but they have to understand the type of market that they're entering. If you've read Greg's Friday's Finest of last week, you saw that he's had a downtick. 48% less buyers have reached out for pre-approvals since the middle of May. So we're starting to see the shift and the effects of this market that it's had on buyers. They're burning out. They're leaving the market, which is in turn leaving properties sitting for longer. So that goes into, how do you prepare sellers for the market? You can't price it high. You've got to, because we're losing buyers. So thank you for that, Chris. That was great. I actually took notes. I love the one about the waiting in the doctor's office. I've felt so, especially in the last 6 months, I felt so much pressure to be able to, we've got to get in quick. If we don't see it within the first day, we're not going to be able to get it. And I was literally rearranging my family time, my personal time for these buyers. And then we get there and then like, oh, we're not doing anything. It doesn't fit. And so there has to be boundaries. I 100% agree. And especially being able to take time for yourself. I have been doing this for 6.5 years. I've been in different markets, and I've come to the point where I've wanted to quit 3 or 4 times. And if it weren't for Christiana saying, listen, keep pushing, you can do this, It's just a season. We can keep going. It's real. The burnout is real. And some of you say, well, I don't even have enough to burn out. Then it's coming. If you continue to, if you continue to do what you're doing now, and doing the phone calls, doing the social media posts, talking to people, listening, if you do that, your business is only going to continue to grow. So I would encourage you to set up those healthy boundaries. Now, is there going to be an opportunity where someone says, hey, I really want to see this. It matches all the criteria. It matches everything. And you agree, right? Like, man, this is a gold mine. Like, this is the needle in the haystack we've been looking for. Then you may have to make an adjustment. But you have to be able to build time into your schedule where you can rest. Because if you don't rest, and I'm telling you, I walked through this last October, it was the first time that I actually I snapped on a client. I did. And it was so much pressure. It was so much going on, and I lost it. And thankfully, I repented. I asked for forgiveness. He repented and asked for forgiveness. And we're still talking. He called me a couple of weeks ago, but it's real. And so if you ever get to that point where you're struggling, you don't know how to create that boundary, you don't know how to be able to say no, it's okay to say no sometimes, not always. It's okay. And so hearing from somebody that, Chris has a real estate number at 258, like I'm 362. So Chris has been in and out of the business, and it's real. And protect yourself, right? Like you are the most important asset, right? Like if you are not functioning healthily, if you're not in that mindset of, I get to do this, I love what I do, I'm not tired. If you get outside of that boundary, in that realm, you do not function well, and that will in turn trickle down to your clients, which is what happened to me, because I didn't have a break, I didn't have a buffer, I was doing it all myself. And I don't want you to have to, I don't want you to ever snap on a client the way that I did in the middle of Walmart. So thank you for sharing that, Chris. It's great information. And thank you all for being here this morning. I'm going to go ahead and end this recording, and then we'll get it uploaded to YouTube. We will see you not next week for Labor Day, but the following week, where Tim will be teaching us. So have a great day.